Almost every new conversation with a buyer starts with, we want to find a place in town. And then my question is, okay, when you say town, what do you mean? Honolulu consists of 3 different regions: Metro Honolulu, Diamond Head, and Hawaii Kai. This is the first part in our Living in Honolulu series, which includes Salt Lake, Kalihi, downtown Manoa, and Waikiki. Welcome to Metro Honolulu. As with all of our neighborhood videos, we're going to talk about the location, what it's like to really live here, prices. Hopefully we'll visit some local businesses. I have to warn you, this video is probably not going to be the prettiest, but we're going to try and show you the neighborhoods here that are the most convenient, the ones that are the most affordable, the ones that are the most expensive, the ones where you can find homes with views. We'll talk about the condos, both the luxury condos and the most affordable condos. And speaking of convenience, we're going to talk about the most convenient neighborhood right now, and that's where we are, Salt Lake, Moanalua. Now, hardly anybody ever sells in this neighborhood. It's not really close to anything, but it's also not really far from anything. You're pretty much going to avoid traffic going in all directions. Homes here are mid-century modern. It's very quiet. It's very sunny. Nobody ever sells. There's been like 2 sales in the last 6 months. Prices range between $1.5 million up to $1.5 million for a single family home. The most affordable neighborhood would be Kalihi for single family homes. Here you can still get a house between the $800,000 to $900,000 range. Now this is probably one of the nicer streets in Kalihi. Right now we're in the valley, but for the most part you can expect the streets to be very tight. You can expect there to be a lot of cars parked all along the streets and in the driveways. There's a lot of multi-generational living here, not a whole lot of yard space that's usable, not a whole lot of curb appeal. I mean, that's actually true for most of Honolulu. Living in Metro Honolulu is all about convenience. Now, after we leave this valley, we're going to venture into Kalihi town. We're going to visit my very favorite bakery called Liliha Bakery, the original actually, and we'll show you what the real Kalihi is all about. Kalihi kind of is what it is. It's this crowded, super urban neighborhood right smack dab in the middle of Honolulu, but there are things that make it special, and this is one of them. I love this place. It's Liliha Bakery. This is the original location. There's several other locations now, but I used to have an auntie that lived on this street, and my mom would drop me off with her, and one of the reasons I loved staying with her so much was because I knew I would get to walk here to Liliha Bakery. So we're gonna go inside and have a cocoa puff for old time's sake. Let's go. Okay, let me show you this. This is what it's all about, and I might even take a bite of it if I don't make a mess all over the place. So that is the Cocoa Puff, and I got a maple donut for good measure and an onion roll, and I'm gonna take a bite of this because I just have to. So the Cocoa Puff is like a croissant pastry shell with this chocolate pudding in the middle. And the salty, sweet, buttery chantilly on the top. No nutritional value whatsoever, but lots and lots of joy. So good. My mom actually grew up in Kalihi. She went to high school in Wahiawa, but she and her family, like all of her cousins and brothers and sisters, have great memories of growing up here. And even though Kalihi kind of has this reputation of being a little bit rough, the people who grew up here feel this really strong sense of pride because it's like, you know, culturally like, yeah, we got through things by growing up here and living and playing here. Now, there are some homes that offer views and a little bit more of a lifestyle if you head up the street by Kamehameha Schools up into Liliha Heights or Kamehameha Heights. You get beautiful like sunsets and views of the airport. And then Kalihi also kind of turns into downtown and into Nu'uanu area. So we'll visit that in a moment. But speaking of downtown, like nobody really lives in downtown, I feel. I have sold a couple of places down there, but you know, it's really far and few between. It's kind of dim and dismal as far as real estate is concerned. There is Chinatown, so there's a culture there, and you've got some really cool restaurants there. We'll take a quick spin through there as well. As you get out of downtown and get further from the airport, this is where Honolulu really starts to get pretty. Your homes with the best views are going to be found in Makiki Heights or Tantalus, which is where we are right now. Homes up here vary in style and size and price. They can range from about $2 million up to like $10 million for a huge estate. Now down below us is Manoa Valley. We previously did a video on that, check that one out, but Manoa Valley is known to be the safest neighborhood. It's also the neighborhood that's the closest to some of your best schools like Punahou, Midpac, and Iolani. And then your homes that have the largest level lots are also going to be in Manoa. The homes that are the largest in general are going to be in Manoa, but Manoa also comes with the highest price tag in Metro Honolulu. Prices there range around $2 million, even for something that's quite small and like 100 years old. And then the homes that are the most lush are going to be the homes that are found in valleys like Manoa, or homes that are more mauka in the mountains, or even like Pauoa Valley or Nu'uanu, which is right up the road from downtown Honolulu. Some of those homes are really, really beautiful, but they're like diamonds in the rough. They hardly ever come up for sale. And then you've got condos down the street here in Makiki. We did a video previously on that. It was called entry-level condos. We're gonna take a ride down the road and check out Makiki next. In addition to the views up in Makiki Heights, the drive up and down is quite the experience. That road really kind of winds back and forth and it's quite tight. Now as you get down the road, we're in Makiki, and Makiki is a place that's made up of mostly condos. You'll have some smaller, older houses here like this, but I feel like most of us local people have lived in Makiki at some time or another because it really is incredibly convenient. It's not the most affordable place as far as owning a condo, but it's probably a close second to the one that is the most affordable, but I felt like it was worth mentioning. What I love about Makiki is it's also very close to those schools that many people love, Punahou, Midpac, and Iolani, and also it's a little breezier and you have mature trees here, so it doesn't feel like an oven. Most of Metro Honolulu can feel really hot. It's 83 degrees today. We're in the middle of July, so I mean really cry me a river, like 83 degrees is really all that hot, especially with these beautiful breezes blowing. But when you're in places like downtown or Kalihi or even Salt Lake, with all of that concrete, it can really feel like that heat is hotter than it really is. Even when we get down into Kaka'ako, I feel like it's really not as hot as some of the other areas. And speaking of Kaka'ako, that's the area where you'll find the most luxury condos. Not a whole lot I need to say about that because we have so many videos on Kaka'ako, so check those out if you are interested in that area. Now we just came from Makiki. We're currently right down the street from Manoa. And the reason that I said Makiki doesn't quite get the prize for the most affordable condos is not necessarily because of the purchase price, but because the maintenance fees in that area tend to be a bit higher and the buildings are much, much older. But the place that gets the #1 prize for the most affordable condos is Mo'iliili, which is where we are right now, and also Waikiki, which is in Faraway. Now here in Mo'iliili, this is an area that's not too far from UH. It's also a great place if you're looking for a rental property because a lot of UH students like to rent here. Now, affordable condos are typically going to come without washers and dryers if they're below $400,000. But here in Mo'iliili, you can find condos that are between $400,000 up into the $700,000s that might come with washers and dryers in the units, might be a little bit bigger, but more importantly, offer incredible views of Diamond Head. There's also a great property coming called Kuile Place, which is going to reinvigorate the neighborhood. There's a lot of other plans for this neighborhood to make it more like kind of like Salt Kaka'ako vibes. So keep in touch with us if you're interested in this neighbor in the future. Waikiki is another place where you can find affordable condos. You just gotta watch out for those maintenance fees. Again, this is an area where there's a lot of old buildings, so it doesn't quite win the award for the most affordable, but it does win the award for the least convenient place to live. And I feel kind of bad saying that because I do have a couple of clients that have purchased here in Waikiki, but typically it's because they came to me and said, I want to find a place in Waikiki. But for our clients, especially our local clients that have a townhouse in Ewa Beach or in Mililani that have their first home and they want to move up and move closer to town. Waikiki is not typically a place we're going to recommend or, kind of guide them into, and they themselves aren't going to want to live in Waikiki. They close down the streets when there's festivals. You can see it in our Living in Waikiki video if you want to see more. Well, thank you so much for watching our Living in Honolulu series. This is part 1, Metro Honolulu. We've got part 2 coming up, but as far as living in Honolulu, what it's really about is convenience, especially here in Metro Honolulu. And some of the intangibles that you'll find with living here, for example, Koa lives in Salt Lake. His home has become like the meeting place for the entire family. Your social life will definitely ramp up if you live in this area. This is a place where people will want to hang out with you. If you live in a condo and you have the pool and the rec center, it's another place where you can easily gather with people. Now, heading into the next video on Diamond Head, you're going to see some really beautiful houses. You're going to see the landscape kind of change. Metro Honolulu to me is kind of like LA, and then as you move further east, it becomes a little bit more like Orange County. But in the meantime, if there's anything else we can help you with personally, please reach out to Koa and I. We would love to help.